It was a rainy October day, and I had to go to school. I wasn't in the mood and felt kinda sick as well, but my mom wouldn't allow me to stay at home, so I had no choice. I took the bus and started my way there. While I was getting in the bus, I noticed that something had changed. There was a new bus driver. He was very old, had a long yellowish beard, and smelled like cigarettes. He didn't seem as someone that should drive a school bus. He smiled at me, and I saw his yellow, gross teeth, at least the ones he had left, and said, "Good morning, fella. Hop in." I didn't answer at him. I just smiled to be polite and went to the back seats as I always do. We arrived at my school, got down, and I expected for the bus driver to leave, but he didn't. He followed me and tried to have a small chat. "So, what's your favorite subject?" he asked me while giving me that same awful smile like the one he had given me earlier. "Sorry, sir, but I'm kinda in a hurry. I don't have the time for this right now," I said, hoping that he would leave me alone. "I can at least keep you company until you reach the door," he said, but this time his smile was gone. He had a face, a more serious face, and kinda scary now. I knew he had bad intentions, so I had to act quickly. I started running while screaming for help to get everyone's attention. "You little rat, you will regret this," he shouted and ran the other way back to the bus. Fortunately, one of my teachers saw the commotion and came to calm me down. He took me to the principal's office, to whom I explained everything that had happened. The scariest part was that the school didn't hire any new bus drivers. So, that old, creepy man was a completely stranger. Police got involved, and I had to explain to them too all the things that happened. The next day, we learned that our original bus driver was found murdered in his own house. The whole situation was on the news too, but police never found that guy, and he still is somewhere out there. Sometimes I feel like he's watching me, and it will be for always a haunting experience, and definitely not one which I want to remember. Monday, the worst day of the week, especially for me because I would start my day with a history lesson, which I don't like at all. So, when one of our teachers came in the class and asked for help to move some books from the storage room to one of the classes, I jumped right in. Fortunately, he chose me, and I left immediately to go help. I didn't really want to carry books around, but still, it was way better than staying in that class. So, I moved all the books, and the teacher let me lock the door because they had another job to do. When I was going to lock the door, some of the books fell. Maybe I didn't leave them in a steady place, I thought. So I went to pick them up. But again, when I was going to lock the door, the books fell. I checked all the windows just in case it was the wind, but all of them were closed. It was very weird, but I once again picked them up. This time, the light turned on, but no one was near the switch. What the heck is happening? I shouted out loud. The lights started to flicker and the fan turned on. I couldn't believe what was happening. There was no logical explanation for all of this. The scariest part was when the letters started appearing on the wall. Y O U U W I L L Will D. I didn't wait for it to complete the sentence, and I ran as fast as I could to get away from that room. I went to call the teacher to see all of this when we reached the room together, but now the door was locked. I could promise that it wasn't me who locked it. My teacher was so mad. He thought I was lying and wasting his time. No matter how much I tried to convince him otherwise, he still didn't believe me. No one I told the story believed me, but I knew what I saw, and from that day on I started believing to the paranormal. It was a normal day at school, boring as usual. Nothing much was happening, just going on with our classes, and I couldn't wait to go back home. It was our last hour, and then finally, freedom. At least that was what I hoped to happen. Suddenly, all the lights turned off instead of one flashing red light, and we heard on our speakers the principal's voice. Everybody, lock the doors and stay where you are until further notice, with a concerned tone. Neither I nor my classmates knew what was happening. The teacher in the class had a panicked look on his face, and then he told us, "Okay, children, there's a harmful man inside the school who is possibly armed and dangerous." When we heard that, we all got scared, and even a few girls started crying. We tried to stay quiet as much as we could. Then we saw underneath the door one set of feet, and the person started banging on the door, screaming, "Open the door! Let me in! You don't want to make me mad and kill all of you." That's when the girls started crying out loud and screaming, "I don't want to die!" The banging became louder and stronger now. We could see that the door couldn't handle many more hits until it was bust open. Then the banging stopped, and it was all over, or at least that was what we thought. After a few minutes of silence, we heard some gunshots, but fortunately it was from the police officers who came to find and disarm the guy so we could leave school safely. I never saw the guy, and we don't have any news about what happened afterwards. No one was hurt, and the whole situation had a good ending, but yet, it was one of the most scary experiences in my entire life. It was summer. We didn't have school and we were enjoying life. But soon enough, we got bored of the monotony and the same summer routine we had. So, my friends and I decided to go on an adventure. We knew how we could sneak into our school, so that's what we decided to do. One night, around 2 o'clock, we got all together and then walked all the way to the school. We got into it by the back gym door, which was always locked for some reason. We entered the building very easily and explored around a little until we heard a sound. Someone was walking around. "Crap, the janitor," I said to my friends. How didn't we think that at least one person would be in the school? I know, it was silly of us. So we decided that it wasn't worth to get caught due to the trouble we would get into, and started to leave the same way we got in. This time though, all the lights in the gym were turning on and off. Something wasn't right. That's when we saw it. It was a tall thing, maybe 10 feet tall animal or something like that, standing on his 2 feet. It didn't look human at all. We couldn't understand what it was. We were so scared that we actually froze for a minute or two. So I said quietly, "We have to go, now." We walked on our tiptoes slowly and managed to run back home. None of us knew what we had just witnessed. It was very tall to be a human, and no animals we knew of looked like that thing. We all agreed not to talk about it ever, and up to this day, we all kept our promise. But still, none of us forgot or learned what was that thing in the school gym that we saw that night.